And we are live. Welcome to Carco and Carney. Welcome back to the working week. I'm James Van Osel. Yes, I did do a podcast from my car, as used to be the norm. I did a podcast from my car on Saturday. I'm kind of doing this hybrid thing for right now. I will be back in the car again. It is Carco and Carney. We will do interviews in the car. But as needs arise, I'll be doing things remote. And I have a need that has arisen, which is why I'm doing it remotely tonight. A couple quick points of business, points of order. I don't know. The Double Door podcast is a bi-weekly podcast about the rebirth of Double Door. Double Door is a long-running, celebrated live music venue in Chicago. It was in Wicker Park for a very long time. Then it was unceremoniously yanked from the music landscape, landlord issues and whatnot. Double Door is being reborn. It's being reborn in the Uptown neighborhood of Chicago at Wilson, had to think about that. Wilson and Broadway. I really believe that this new Double Door space is going to do for Uptown in Chicago what it did for Wicker Park in Chicago in the 90s and the 21st century. How this club is coming together, the permits being pulled, the walls being knocked down, all the minutia, which is super fascinating, is chronicled in the Double Door podcast, hosted by Sean and Pete, the co-owners of Double Door. Every other Tuesday, you can hear a new episode, and there's video on their YouTube to back it up. Really cool. If you're a fan of music, business, behind the scenes stuff, cool podcast for you. The Double Door podcast, episode 3 launches tomorrow. As for me here on Carco and Carney, tomorrow, old radio habits die hard. Tomorrow's 2 for Tuesday. I'll have 2 different interviews running tomorrow night. First off, I'll be talking to people from the AAW. If you like professional wrestling, it is coming back to Chicago this coming weekend. The Jim Lynam Memorial Tournament happening in the bucolic suburb of Berwyn. I'll have Tyler Voles, who does play-by-play for the AAW, and Kevin Kellum, who does interviews and behind-the-scenes stuff, and who's also a noted stand-up comic in the local comedy scene, joining me tomorrow night to talk AAW. And artist, like visual artist, painter, George Zach will be joining me tomorrow night. He's doing a pop-up art installation at Liars Club this coming week, and we'll be looking at some of his stuff and talking about how to see it and what his inspirations are. As for tonight, though, this is exciting. This is how you start a week. It's no longer charming to be the asshole writing songs and criticizing everyone else. It is Ryan Malott from 500 Miles to Memphis joining me from Ohio this evening. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you.
Yeah, man. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me on. This is great. And nice pool, man. Nice quote. You quoted our single. I love that. It's one of my favorite lines.
It's kind of a mission statement for the album, though, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Yes.
So the album is Hard to Love. The new album's Hard to Love just came out on Friday. We're recording this on Monday. It is brand new, out in the universe. Taking a step back, the last album was the product or the result of springing out of addiction and recovery. Where does this album find you?
Oh boy, this one maybe a little falling off the wagon a bit. Oh, no. It's real life, man. Yes, I was sober for 8 years, and the previous album we did, I think, was a sort of love letter to getting not just me, but the rest of my bandmates, sort of a love letter and journal entry, so to speak, about getting our lives together, because we were, just absolute train wrecks. So anyway, we got things together. We have wives, we have kids now. Like, we're borderline responsible adults. And then 2020 happened, and most of us fell off the wagon a bit, which didn't get into any trouble by any means. But I think we are starting to find a balance between teetotaling. I'm talking about alcohol, by the way, not drugs. We're finding a balance between teetotaling and just having an occasional drink amongst friends, which, if there is anyone out there that's in AA, you're going to hate me for even saying any of this. But it's not for everyone. Some people absolutely need to not have a drop, but we are starting to find that balance of drinking responsibly, So anyway, this record is a little more real life, and it deals with a lot more issues than just, past mistakes and screwing up. this one's, I think, a little more about our take on the world and state of affairs. Was way more political than previous albums, and we have something to say about everything, and that's what this record is. Yeah.
Well, and you led me right to it. So the new album, Hard to Love, again, 500 Miles to Memphis, Weight of the World, one of the first songs you hear on this. It's hard to love when everybody hates. If there's not a line that's spun out of the pandemic and the political situation of the past several years, I don't know. I mean, that's it. That summarizes everything.
Well, thank you.
That's the world we live in.
Absolutely. It is. I do find that it is hard to love, because I'm definitely a lover, and like I'm a bit of a pacifist, and like I really don't like confrontation. As many bar fights as I've been in over the years being in this band, I don't like confrontation, and I'm a peaceful person, but I do find that it's hard to love when you are faced with so much animosity and hatred, and it's all obviously fueled from social media. Mm-hmm. And I think 2020 showed us just how bad it can get. And anyway, that sums up a lot of the record, is just how things can kind of spiral out of control and snowball, and it's hard to love when everybody hates. So
yeah, I hit a point in 2020, exactly what you're saying. I would doom scroll on social media. I'd read these comments, and they would be enraging. They'd be fatiguing. They would just make me feel sad and awful. I'm like, fuck, I've got to put down the phone. I've got to turn off the computer. I'm going to go for a long walk now. I'm going to put on my headphones and listen to anything that's not this. And we all had to find our ways through it. I mean, for you, maybe it's relearning how to drink socially or create music, write songs. For me, I'm like, I just need to run away from this for a little bit and get some fresh air. I mean, we all had to find ways to navigate around this vitriol, and and we're seeing it now with all the Facebook stuff coming out. It is just the fires are being stoked by social, and we all keep going back to it. I mean, it's this drug we can't kick. We know it's bad for us, but
well, it's like watching. I always hated reality television, and now it's almost that same sort of thing. But this time, the reality television is people that you know and went to high school with and grew up with. And now all of a sudden, everyone is quarantined, stuck inside, and they have opinions all of a sudden. Very political, divisive opinions. And it was really surprising to me to see some of these people that I knew and cared for voicing some very aggressive and hateful messages, on Facebook. And by the way, Facebook. I mean, I don't really mess around in Twitter. It's just one platform's enough. So I moved over to Instagram just because it's much more pleasant. But yeah, I definitely got sucked into that vortex of Facebook, sort of like mid 2020, and finally got out of it. But it was just so wild seeing just how many people had so many things and hateful things to say. And it was surprising. And it's like, wow. And then you realize, like, holy shit, they are not getting the same news as I am.
That's the thing, right?
If you are getting your news from social media, that's a problem.
Absolutely.
Like, you absolutely have to go to a trusted publication to get your news. And I think that is a lesson I think a lot of people need to learn. I mean, journalism exists for a reason. I mean, I'm not going to speak about Fox News by any means, whatever, but it's not Facebook,
Well, and what you're saying about getting your news on social media, it's not just that people are getting their news on social media, they're getting their headlines on social media. Like they're forming opinions based on headlines and comments and not actually clicking through to the content. They're not actually digging in for the story. They're just formulating opinions based on whatever kind of clickbaity, masturbaity, awful baity headline they're seeing on social. And that, oh my God, that doesn't help anybody.
Oh, no. Well, and then, at the time we had a president that was doing the same exact thing, fueling the fire.
Exactly.
So
Well, speaking of
shit,
which,
man.
Hard Bargain ends the album.
Hmm.
Where again, you said that this band is more political this time. Hard Bargain certainly fits the bill right there. You
Yeah,
talk.
absolutely. Yeah. Uh, wow. Uh, where do I even begin on that one? I think so. Hard Bargain was one of the first songs that I wrote for the record. And so I wrote that in early 2020, before the insurrection, I mean, honestly, before the shit had really, truly hit the fan. So I think I wrote that one in April of 2020, and I was already mentally exhausted from
Yeah.
all of the news headlines and the drama and just the bullshit of, I mean, everyone's tired of it, you know. Uh, but yeah, so Hard Pill and Hard Bargain are sort of they're the two tracks just right next to each other. They close out the album. So Hard Pill is sort of the journey we're on at the beginning of 2020. It's like, oh, so this is a very difficult situation that we're all faced with. It sucks, and we just have to fucking take it. And we've all got to quarantine. We all got to do our part. And it seemed like in the beginning everyone was on board. It's like, all right, let's quarantine. How long again?
Right.
And so, that's kind of what Hard Pill's about. And then you get into Hard Bargain, and Hard Bargain is more about the fatigue and the rage and just the sheer psychosis that came out of 2020. And like I said, I wrote that in like the second quarter of 2020. It hadn't even gotten to its, peak of awful.
Well, and Hard Pill, we're recording this 6 days before Halloween. You kind of have a Halloween friendly, exorcist friendly lyric. Did Christ compel you? You can paraphrase that and make it exorcist like, if you want to make it seasonal or topical.
You should watch our music video from 2019. We used 600 gallons of blood.
Is this your time of year? Do you love Halloween? Is this like?
Oh yeah, season? So we're definitely not a horror punk band by any means, but we definitely skew that way. Like all of our shirts have skulls on them, and it's just like, it's kind of our vibe. We love horror movies. We just kind of wear it on our sleeves. Like, yeah, man, we love horror movies, but we're not a horror punk band. We just like that stuff. Also love Star Wars,
Did you watch the new Dune yet?
I am going to see it tonight in the theater because I don't want to watch it on, HBO. I want to actually watch it in the theater properly. So I'm going with a buddy later tonight.
See, I think that's the way to do it. I watched it. It was last night. I started to watch it, and it was the end of the day. I'm at home. I'm on my couch. All the tones are very muted. People are talking quietly, and I got very sleepy as I was watching it. Like, I need to see it. I mean, it was visually beautiful, but sometimes when you're at home, it's just too easy to be distracted and not zeroed in on what you're watching. I think for a movie like that, seeing it in the theater is the way to go.
Do you have kids?
I do. I've got 2 teenagers.
Oh, okay. I've got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, a boy and a girl. So watching anything at home is nearly impossible. And watching it loud, which, that's how you want to watch a movie like Dune. Like, I want to turn it up. And I can't, because it'll wake up the kids, and then they'll come down and probably see something that'll traumatize them for the rest of their lives. So, all the really, like, the good horror stuff, like, I have to watch it like real quiet, and it doesn't have the same effect.
I love horror movies, flat out favorite genre. Halloween movie, like, there are people who go on these kicks, like, every October I'm going to watch a Halloween movie a night for 31 days. Like, fuck, what about the other 11 months? Let's watch horror movies all year round.
Here, dude. Here's my Ash Williams. I keep him right by. He's on my desk at all times.
That's amazing. But when my kids were your kids' age, same thing. Like, I couldn't watch horror movies at home, and you spend so much time watching movies with them and just trying to organize them, get them ready for bed, and feed them. By the time you have time to yourself, you're like, oh my God, I just need to sleep or something. So I went years without really watching a lot of horror. The second they became a little more independent, I went all in. It was like someone getting paroled from prison and like seeing their first, or having their first like sexual encounter after being locked up for 10 years. Like, oh my God, I'm going to watch all the horror movies. This is great. And it's been nonstop ever since. Like every night I'm like, what haven't I seen? Well, I haven't seen Blackula yet. And it's, it's high time I watch that. That's where my head's at. I can't get enough.
Awesome. I can't wait to be where you are.
It's coming. It's glorious. Yeah. It is glorious. Also on the album, there's Control Alt Country, which
That's
has
my favorite track. That's my favorite song I've ever written in my life.
Really? Okay. Because I want to talk about alt country, but there's this cool, like synthy, tech heavy lead into the song. As we talk about hard drinking, heavy drinking, the lifestyle, I feel like that's part of the script of country punk, and just there's a persona that goes along with alt country, isn't there?
Oh yeah, man, you nailed it. And I'm so tired of that cliche. But I mean, there's no doubt about it. We were partiers, tried and true. We've been a band for almost 20 years now, and the first 12, 13 years, 14, 15, geez, it's been a long time. We were just the party band coming to town to rage, and we would play our set and then we would close the bar down with our fans every night, and that catches up with you, and then you become an alcoholic pretty freaking quick. But yes, we became a cliche. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Like, we were an absolute cliche cowpunk band, and as we've progressed, we've evolved beyond that. And I've always hated the term cowpunk, for us anyway, because we're a bit more than that. When I think about cowpunk, I think the theme song to King on the Hill. Like, that's cowpunk. It's kind of tongue in cheek. It's not serious. We're lyrically have always been a very serious band. But the shows have always been fun and rowdy. So that's kind of why I've always pushed away from that genre, calling ourselves cowpunk. So anyway, we sort of just over time have evolved, and now we just call it like punk rock Americana, because it definitely has elements of country, bluegrass, and obviously punk rock. But I am going down a rabbit hole, and I feel like you asked something, and I'm forgetting.
Let's talk about Control Alt Country. Why is that your favorite?
Oh, okay. Well, the beginning of our conversation, you were talking about social media, and I think that we are in a primitive age of information, and that's the first line of that song. Is we worship these digital heroes from our cell phones and our laptops, and there is so much, we put so much stock and time. I mean, if you look at the metrics on your like, I have an iPhone, and it'll tell you how much screen time you have each day, and it's depressing. Like, it's like, oh my God, I've spent 5 hours staring at my cell phone today.
Right.
So, and we're all guilty of it, man. I am as bad as anyone. So it's not a judgmental thing. I just think it's just a comment on society. It's where we are. I think we're in this primitive age of information, and we are learning how to properly use technology. And and this is coming from a guy, like, it took me forever to get on social media. Like the first 10 years of our band, we did not utilize social media at all. Like, we had zero online footprint, and we were doing 300 shows a year. It was just old school, that's just how we did it. And that's how we built a fan base, was, naturally. And then all of a sudden we start utilizing the internet, and like, it grew like a lot faster that way. But then again, everything just comes right back to 2020. And I'm absolutely, like, we're all in on this whole social media thing, and just promoting shows that way. You don't go plastering flyers around the street corner at the laundromat. You don't do that anymore. You buy a Facebook ad in whatever city you're playing, and try to push ticket sales that way, because that's where people are now. That's where their eyeballs are. So that's sort of what Control Alt Country is about, is just sort of navigating these precarious waters of where do we go from here? because certainly this has to be the infantile stage of social media. I feel like I do have hope, very hopeful. I think we're going to evolve and figure out a responsible way to use the internet and a responsible way to use social media. And, maybe 10 years from now, we'll look back on Facebook and be like, oh my God, can you believe I don't know. It's so far to think that far ahead.
You made me think of something. I had some local friends, Lucky Boys Confusion, who had a moment
I
in
know
Chicago.
them.
They've been around for a while. I had them on a few nights ago, and back in the day, they were flyering laundromats and everything you said, putting stuff out, getting the word out that way, the old school way. And that made me wonder, and I'd be curious to hear your thought on it too. Do scenes exist like that anymore? Like they were able to build a local scene in their suburban community just by flyering and building presence and, making people feel that kind of like local pride of ownership. Is it possible to build scenes in this social media digital age anymore?
I miss that. And I have wondered the same thing myself. I think that's a great question. I honestly think that maybe I'm too old and too far removed from the youth to really understand, because there has to be a scene, like I mean, I can definitely speak for Cincinnati and Kentucky, like this area. There's absolutely a great music scene. It doesn't exist in the same way it did, in the 90s, in the early aughts, where we had this area of town called Short Pine. And it was like where all the punk venues were, and not just punk venues, but like the coolest music venues.
Yeah.
And it was really close to the college campus. Had a lot of progressive thinkers and like radio shows and magazines, or fanzines starting. And like, it was just this sort of like artistic mecca of Cincinnati. The Afghan Wigs were spawned out of it. Ass Ponies were spawned out of it. I mean, probably a lot of other bands that I'm even forgetting to mention. But it was this very contained area that actually, I think MTV did a segment on Short Vine in Cincinnati, and they were touting it as possibly the next Seattle. That didn't happen, but it's a very cool part of town, and that doesn't exist anymore. And to your point, like, if I even wanted to flyer, I have no idea where I would do it. Like, because there's not really a contained area that's a scene. So the younger bands that are trying to like break in today, that are, doing it and actually drawing crowds, I think they're doing it. They're using social media, the right way, because they've grown up with it and they actually know how to use it. So I mean, there's this band from here called Motherfolk. Are you familiar with them?
I'm not.
Oh my God, they're fantastic. And they have, I mean, just an insane amount of followers. I mean, they have, like, they're blowing up, and I wouldn't be surprised if you don't hear their name soon. But they're busting their ass. They're touring all over the country. So they're like pounding the pavement doing that thing, which is like, I love seeing that. I commend bands for still pounding the pavement and doing that thing. But they're also, they're taking care of that online presence too. And so as far as the scene, I just think it's digital now.
Yeah,
I think that's how
that's not a bad
bands
thing.
are connecting. Yeah,
that's just where we're at right now. And I think scene building just took on a different texture and approach. It's just interesting because, I mean, we are both of a certain era where it was a very different world. The second someone like you says, I remember flyering or postering, and before a show to get people, just put your band's name out there. You don't need to do that anymore. But by the same token, it's so hard to corral like that local loyalty.
Mailing press kits too. Oh my God. Putting like mailers together and mailing out to venues and trying to book tours and stuff, and just like, hopefully they give you a phone call, and hopefully you're home to answer the phone when they call. So it has made things like that so much easier. Sure. The first few years of the band, oh my God, dude, it was so hard just to get a show booked, because you were right. I spent like every dime I had trying to like print pictures and put a cassette tape together, or it's actually CD. It was still CDs at the time. And just getting that mailed out. I mean, that was expensive for, a 19-year-old kid. Like,
Sure.
I was working at a bookstore making like $5 an hour, spending every dime I had putting press kits together so that my band could go on the road.
You mentioned Facebook. It's where you are, and Instagram as well. I think you've been in this business a long enough time, and you've seen it done enough. For other, I have a lot of independent musicians and musicians who watch and listen to this. Would you agree or not agree that for a social media approach, you can't do everything, and you should zero in on the shit you're good at? Like, for instance, 500 Miles to Memphis maybe isn't a TikTok band.
No, we're not. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, you're right.
Play to your strengths.
Yeah, man. I do I do reels on Instagram quite a bit. Like I'll pick just some famous song and do a little banjo picking and singing and just like do a little bluegrass thing, and people dig that. But definitely, I mean, I've never even used TikTok. I have no idea. I've never even downloaded it, so I have no idea how to use it, and I'm fine with that. It's just I just have fatigue. I have like technology fatigue where it's like, man, I mean, I'm not kidding. I just learned how to use Instagram last year, and it's been around forever. And then all of a sudden there's TikTok pops up, and I'm just like, I just learned Instagram. I can't.
Yeah, exactly. Go with what you're good at. You can't win everything. And
but unfortunately, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like just on the same point of trying to zero in on what you're good at. But unfortunately for independent bands, like you not only have to be stellar live and write good music that people want to stream and listen to and the actual art that we are doing this for, you also have to be, a graphic designer, a marketer. You got to be able to build your own website. You got to be able to know how to promote yourself. I mean, you literally have to be like a marketing powerhouse. And that's that sucks, because there are so many great musicians out there that can't do that, because that is a totally different skill set.
For sure.
And they'll get lost to the ether because they don't know how to build websites or engage with social media, and like it's tough.
Well, and this is true of the creative community writ large. As a podcaster, same thing. And it's a disconnect when it comes to, in podcasting, you have to find ways to monetize your podcast. We don't go on the road. We don't sell merch. Most of us don't. How do we find ways to monetize it? Well, we have to turn on that other side of the brain where we're selling ourselves, and we have to like pitch ourselves. And it's very similar. Like, we just want to create content, but we have to know, I had to put together a website. I had to put together an email list. I had to figure out social. I get it, because as a creator, you just want to create, but in order to be effective independently, you got to figure out all the other shit too. And it's a heavy lift for a lot of people.
Yeah, man. We've worked with a couple of really great record labels over the years. And they are good at handling this very small piece of the pie that I can't do. But I'm like distribution, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
And they're good at giving advice. But this whole other like 80% of the pie, you got to figure out on your own. Right. And I mean, we've never had a booking agent ever. I have booked and managed this band from day one. And, once you finally get the show booked, say you're trying to break into a new market. I mean, I remember trying to break into the Chicago market, like finally getting someone to take a chance on you and book you. Like, well, who the hell is this band from Cincinnati, Ohio? Having someone take a chance, book you, and then keep having you back. And then you also, at the same time, like, you got to like promote. And promoting in my own town is hard enough. But, promoting myself in Chicago, it's right. Like, how in the world, you have to use social media. You kind of got to buy ads to spread the word. I mean, there's really no way around it that I know of. If you know of another way, please let me know.
If only.
Yeah.
So again, the new album is Hard to Love. 500 Miles to Memphis, new album, Hard to Love. You mentioned putting stuff out on compact disc back in the day. Did you ever, Ryan, in your wildest dreams, think you'd see a day where cassettes would swing back around and you'd be putting out new music on cassette?
No, definitely not. I thought that was dead. And we've never, well, aside from old demos that only I have, we've never been on cassette. We've never released a cassette until Sexy Baby Records from Chicago. For some reason, man, they're so kind, and they got a hold of me and said, "Hey, would you care if I put this out on cassette?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I would be honored. Yes, please do that."
Well, here's the interesting thing. I mentioned that I have two teenagers. My son is very much into music, and I've got him, or he got himself into collecting vinyl, and we go record shopping and stuff. And
Cool.
he asked me a couple of weeks ago, he said, "What's the point of CDs?" I said, "Well, I explained what the CD is all about." He said, "I don't know if I'd ever want to buy a CD, but cassettes look cool to me. They're cool little packages." He's like, those, and this is someone who never grew up with cassettes, never owned a boombox or a Walkman or anything. He just liked the look and the vibe of cassettes. I thought that's interesting because he is a teenager and this is a product from decades past, which is appealing to him. So I thought that was a good sign.
Well, I think cassettes are visually much cooler. They look like a transformer, man.
That's it.
And also, kids these days, I mean, walk down the toy aisle in Target, which I spend a lot of time there because I have kids and I also like toys. But I mean, I was there today and I saw there's Jurassic Park, Ghostbusters, Star Wars. I mean, literally everything from the 80s. And it like the toy aisle looks exactly the same as it did when I was a kid.
True.
And it's just crazy. So I'm not super surprised that, someone your son's age would be like, "Hey, I'm kind of interested in those cassette things." Because it's like, well, I feel like their generation is so obsessed with the 80s anyway. It would make sense.
Well, and
maybe eventually someone will think CDs are cool. We still print CDs, man. We sold a ton of them this weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What about vinyl for this release?
So vinyl manufacturing is super backed up because
that's what everyone's saying.
Yeah. It's coming, but it likely won't come until we're planning on spring of 22. So we'll be touring on that and we'll release the vinyl then. Yep.
Again, like my cassette question, did you ever think we'd be in a period where vinyl is the number one way to sell physical music media?
So it seemed like in the late aughts, it was starting to make a comeback. I didn't think that it would be like the number one way that we sell music. Because, unfortunately we have to give away our music because it streams. So there's no way to make money on our records anymore. So the fact that like vinyl has just blown up, it's the best of both worlds. So if we're playing a show, someone comes to the merch table and buys the actual record or goes to an independent music store and buys the record. So we get the money from that. And then, they can't take it in their car with them like they can a CD or a cassette tape. So they're usually streaming it in their car. So we're not only have we gotten the $20 from the vinyl sale, we're getting streams on Spotify, which is a huge help for the band. So honestly, vinyl sales, I think that is the best way you can support a band. Buy the vinyl, listen to it at your house, stream it on Spotify in your car.
Dude, that was me this entire weekend with the new Bronx album. I listened to it incessantly on vinyl. And then I'd get in my car. I'm like, I want to hear those songs again. It's so good. It's just tough, swaggery rock and roll. That's all it is.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I know. They're great. I have not picked up the new album yet, and I fully intend to.
All right. But your album, Hard to Love, it's new. It's out. Recorded completely DIY at your place.
Yes, sir.
This was a pandemic era. Like, let's just figure this shit out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, our previous record we released in 2019 called Blessed Be the Damned. and it got a massive publicity push, and we put a lot of money behind it, pushed it, toured it, did all that. And typically with an album release, we can usually count on selling enough to make that investment back, and then put some money in our pockets, and we can usually count on that. So we released in 2019, toured for the whole year, and then get to 2020, and there was nothing. There was no way for us to start recouping money to like pay that back, because all of our money comes from shows. I mean,
right.
I'm just going to go ahead and say 100% of our money comes from live shows, and then what we sell at the merch table. We don't see anything from online sales. Even if you buy it on iTunes, like, we don't see shit. So anyway, we missed out on, a whole, almost going on 2 years now. So we were in a lot of debt from that, honestly. So the only way that we saw that we could claw our way out is like, well, let's just release new music. Let's write some music and see what happens. And, it certainly was spawned because we were antsy, and we had time on our hands, and we were just writing the best music of our careers, because I think we were just very focused.
Yeah.
And it just made sense. Like, so we started writing. I wrote a couple songs, sent it to the guys, and I was like, hey man, listen to this. I recorded this at my house. I think we can do this. And my bassist has been telling me for years, like, hey man, we just need to record DIY. Let's stop spending money on studios. And I never really listened to him, but he was right. So that's what we did. We just we pretty much did it remotely. I recorded most of the stuff here in my basement. Some of the guys would email me their tracks. Mike Maimon from Chicago, he's our key player, and
he played his keyboards in my car once. He brought a full keyboard.
Oh, did he do the actual Car Con Carne show?
Yes, he
the right way?
He played Tinfoil Hat in my car.
Man, that's awesome. I need to check that out.
Yeah, he's a super talented dude.
Oh, absolutely. He's one of my favorite musicians of all time. Just so he whenever we can, we have him play with us live, and he was obvious, to get a hold of him to do the record, because I know he's able to record at home. So he sent me some organ and piano tracks, and they were obviously perfect because he's great. So I was able to mix them in, and we have a whole horn section, and on a couple spots. But yeah, everyone just emailed me their tracks, and I was able to mix everything in, and it turned out great. Like, so much better than I thought. Funny story, my one of my guitarists was living in Seattle at the time, and he didn't have a way to record, so he was singing his vocals into the voice memo thing on his iPhone, and he emailed me those tracks, and I was able to mix them in, and they sound fine. Then they were recorded on a cell phone.
Technology, man. That's the coolest.
Yeah, right. See, that we keep going back to technology. Like, it's a blessing and a curse. Like, in a lot of ways, man, it is so great, and that's one of the ways. He was.
Well, what's happening right now is one of those ways. The fact that you and
right, yeah, we're doing it now.
Yeah, we're doing a radio show from our homes, basically, across the Midwest.
Yeah, it's so cool, dude. So yeah, anyway, so it all came together very organically, and the songs were, I think we were all just very inspired. So excuse me, sorry, someone was trying to call me. We were all just very inspired, and the songs just came much easier this time. And I don't know, dude. I think I think literally everyone has an opinion in 2020, as we can see on social media. And we are no different. And we were wearing our heart on our sleeve, and we're like, well, you know what? We've got some things we want to say too. So let's sing about it. And that's it, man. Like, and I love this album. It's my favorite album we've ever done. And it's very raw, but it still sonically sounds like I'm very proud of it. Like I think it's one of our best sounding records, honestly.
I love it. All right. Well, you need to go see Dune tonight.
Yes, sir.
All right. So again, the new album, it's out. It is brand new. You can get it. 500 miles to Memphis. Ryan, thank you for doing this. I hope we get to see you here in Chicago at some point soon.
We will be up your way. I mean, probably March. We'll definitely be there up in March. Yeah.
Well, I'll be there. We'll be there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll get a hold of you. Thank you again for having me, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you for what you do. It's super fucking cool that you have independent artists like me on, man. It's really cool. Thank you.